Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and Honkai Star Rail just released very exciting news. What I think is going to be version 1.4 new characters coming up. Since Topaz and Numby was released second, likely the order is going to be Jingliu first in the first half of 1.4, and of course Topaz and Numby in the second half of version 1.4, if we follow the same trend at least. And in both of them, they are both 5-star characters, they are both DPSs. One is a Fire Hunt character, Topaz, and Jingliu is an Ice Destruction character. I'll talk about like the typing and how it affects the current game state in a little bit, but first things first, any of you who are wondering why is Topaz and Numby the name like so long, it's not because her name is has an N in between so unsightly. Is this warp trotter here in the picture that we see is actually called Numby, whereas Topaz is the lady in the picture herself. It's nice that they decided to add a bit of credits to Numby. I wonder whether it's because she's going to be a very significant part of like her overall kit. Maybe she swaps in Numby to do an attack or something like that. Still nice to give a big credit to the non-humanoid characters or human characters as well. Unlike like Clara and Svarog, who doesn't care about Svarog and it's only just Clara in the character card. So nice to see the difference as well in terms of that. Out of both of them, what this actually kind of tells me is that we are having more DPS characters being released in the game than support characters. So for those of you at the back of your mind, you're thinking about this, the ratio currently is 7 DPSs if you count Kafka as a DPS, to of course 3 support characters, namely Fucc, namely Silver Wolf, as well as Luota. So definitely support characters does seem to be a rarer commodity right now. Okay, so what I actually noticed is if you think about the order of releases, Lightning was Jingyuan released in 1.0, Quantum was 1.0 Zealer, Imaginary is 1.3, gonna be Imbibitor Lunae, Huynh, DPS, we are talking about like DPS limited characters that have been released. Huynh is like Blade, who has been released. And of course, Fire and Ice are going to be Jingliu herself, as well as Topaz and Numby as 5-star DPSs. The only element that is actually left not touched is physical as an element. And this is interesting because currently the only 5-star physical DPS in the game is Clara, which not many people might have access to. For example, myself, I have every character in the game, haven't had the RNG luck to get Clara for some reason, so I'm quite excited to get a physical DPS character. So that is like the breakdown of what I see so far. In terms of the path, I think it has been split roughly even. Every character is getting a limited 5-star except for Harmony. Who knows when it's going to come out, but given the ratio of like 7:3 DPS to support, we might see a Harmony character coming out a little bit earlier than not. But I'll leave like speculation to a little bit. Let me first talk about which one I think, like Topaz or Numby versus Jingliu, who will be currently better suited for accounts in general. I think the main decision criteria is what are your hunt DPSs currently, and the two main ones is Zealer as well as Yanqing. If you do not have Zealer, it means that you likely do not have a very fast attacking DPSs, or maybe you don't have both of them. For example, you don't have Yanqing, you don't have Zealer. In that case, both of them will give you very good amounts of value, both Jingliu as well as Topaz, and you'll be probably like spoiled for choice, especially if they are DPSs. We assume that of course everyone's DPS is like the same, no one is like significantly broken as of now because it's just pre-release, just pure drip marketed speculation. If you don't have Zealer, but you have Yanqing, I think Jingliu is less of a priority since you are able to address ice weaknesses in the enemy quite well. You also have free-to-play characters like Mark 7, you have a Gacha 4-star like Pella, who is very, very strong. Ice is likely not super needed if you have Yanqing. Whereas if you have Zealer and Yanqing, both of them, I honestly don't know whether it's worth it to pull either of them because you already address ice weaknesses. You already, for example, have Fire Break in your main character. You have Asta here, who's also dealing fire break damage. But that aside, of course, if you don't care about like weaknesses and stuff like that, between the two of them, I do think that Topaz and Numby does fit a little bit better into the current game state. Let me give you 2 reasons. First things first, of course, is the traces. Asta, a free character in the game, free Harmony character, gives 18% fire damage bonus to allies on the field. On top of that, if you have the light cone for Harmony characters, Planetary Rendezvous, here I have it at super in position 5, you have like 24% fire damage bonus plus the 18%. That's a free 42% fire damage bonus for fire DPSs. Of course, take it down like a little bit, maybe like 30% and stuff like that if you don't have the limited light cone at super in position 5, of course. But still, Asta is a free character, everyone has her. You can even start building her now. Gives nice amount of attack and speed, which I think is going to be quite unanimously appreciated across the board of most DPSs. Even a character like Blade does appreciate some speed, even though he doesn't care too much about the attack as well. So I think that is like the first thing to consider. In terms of harmony characters, definitely I would say, I'm just finding Star real quick. Definitely, of course, Topaz does have a bit more synergy. We currently don't have an Ice Harmony character in the game. If that comes out like maybe tomorrow, Drip Marketer or 1.5, of course, this view will change slightly. But for now, I think Topaz takes this spot a little bit. And the second thing I think that I want to talk about as well is, of course, in terms of the relics. Between both of them, I think that the one that ages out right now slightly more is the Ice Relic set. If you see here, Hunter of Glacial Forest, the two pieces of course going to be the same as the Fire set here, but the second piece gives a universal crit damage of 25% when the wearer uses their ultimate ability. Maybe Jingliu has an enhanced ultimate ability, so she generally will get this crit damage, who knows. But if you see, for example, the Firesmith or Lava Forging here, you only get 24% skill damage increase, or sorry, 12% that skill damage increase, and like fire damage bonus for 12% when you're unleashing the ultimate. Between the two of them, I do think crit damage, universal crit damage just by unleashing the ultimate is way better. But of course, this one has a lower floor, especially if maybe Jingliu has a high energy restoration requirement. At least you still get like 12% if both of them are like the exact same character. I'm just talking about which relic set is better. In my opinion, I think Ice set slightly ages out over the Fire set. Hopefully we will see new relic sets coming out specifically for both of them. But who knows, right? I'm not Hoyoverse an employee or anything, so I don't really know. But those two are my thoughts so far. If you are talking about pure fire and pure ice team, both of them can play quite well in a pure fire, pure ice team. You have Estar, and you have Fire MC with a bit of sustain. Sadly, we don't have like a fire healer in the game yet, which will be really nice, but at least you can make a full team of fire so far, just lacking that sustain. Of course, I think Jingliu is easier to play a mono team because March 7 can kinda like solo sustain if you build her fast enough, tanky enough. If you have Gepard, of course, she can definitely be played in a solo ice team. Very, very nice. Between both of them, Jingliu definitely is easier to play in mono ice teams, especially if you are playing here like the main DPS. And I do think that Destruction and Hunt characters do get along quite well, because as you can see, like Destruction characters tend to have a bit of AoE in their kit, whereas Hunt characters are like more single target in nature. So although they do both like do decently large amounts of damage, I don't think they overlap that much to an extent. So I think it's quite possible even if you had like multiple characters as well. So those are like some initial thoughts, and not to mention you also have Pella in the game, who also has defense shredding. So Pella is like the opposite to Estar in that sense. Estar focuses on buffing. Pella is really like the ice equivalent of debuffing the enemies for Jingliu's case. So those are like my thoughts in both of them. I think likely as it stands, maybe just slightly ahead for Topaz because of the presence of Estar, who is very cheap to build, free to play as well. The others require like maybe a certain set of combinations for Jingliu to solely work, but I don't think anyone is like a must pull in terms of criteria that we see. We have a lot of alternatives. Fire, you have Hook, not a fantastic option, but it is still a 4-star option to play. You also have Himiko, any of you who have her, but of course more AoE damage. Ice, you have Yanting. If you don't have Yanting, you still do have Pella, who does good amounts of ice damage, but of course no real single target big damage 4-star alternative for ice. Of course Herta is AoE in nature. So those are like my thoughts, broad matter for both of them. And of course, let's talk about the next part is, let's go back into the screen with their picture on it. Okay, so the next part I'll talk about is like design as well as the voice actors. I know some of you care about this part. My personal bias, I'm just going to put it out, personal bias, because everyone's design is a bit different. I prefer Topaz a little bit more to Jingliu. I don't really like the emotional kind of shy kind of this kind of vibe. I prefer more cheery, more bubbly, which apparently Topaz does seem to exhibit. But between both of them, I think the more famous voice actor is going to be not Sam Slade, Topaz voice actor, but I think it's going to be Emily, who is Jingliu's voice actor. If we take a look at like, this is IMDb website, of course, I was just like casually scrolling down. She has acted in many other games or like drama series, TV series, as you can see. She even acted in the recent game that I played, like Rupee Viper from Nikkei Goddess of Victory. quite big. She played quite a lot of other games. I'm no expert at like all these other games, but I'm just scrolling, so some of you maybe have played, you are interested or you like those characters. It's gonna be the same VA, so I guess that might affect it if you are playing English VA. If any of you know like the Japanese VAs of both of them and who is better and bigger, do leave a comment below, because I'm very terrible at VAs and knowing who came from where and stuff like that. But yeah, you see the list really is like super long for Emily, so it seems like she is quite a reputable, well-known English VA. Whereas of course Sam Slade, definitely not small on her own. Definitely have experience with many different gacha games as well, but compared to the list, maybe slightly shorter than Emily, but who knows, I'm no expert. I'm just sharing what I think. Out of all these games, I only played like Dislike, Taye, Nut, one of the characters in the game. Other than that, really hardly recognize any of this. I think this is like a pretty small role in Genshin Impact that she had. Maybe that's how she established the relationship with Hoyoverse. Punishing Grey Raven, Epic 7, Abigail, Blood Rose, and other than that, quite not really familiar roles for me, but it's nice to see that she's voice acting a limited 5-star in Honkai Star Rail. Well, yeah, so that's all I have for you in this video. If you guys appreciate this such content being timely as well, sharing you my thoughts, even though we have nothing concrete, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I try to do this every single patch, and also if you have any preferences and your thoughts as well, leave a comment below. Happy to hear from it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.